Hey, boppers. Hey, boppers, we're back again. We're in a much better mood than last time. You'll be pleased to hear. I'm Eddie French, I'm here with Emma Tiswell.
Hello.
And here with Tom King.
Buongiorno!
Very grand entrance.
How delightfully European of you, Thomas.
Yes.
That's very appealing. Well done, you.
Guten Abend, Morgen, and all that.
Yep.
Ah.
Do you like Dracula?
Yes.
Do you like the man who wrote Dracula?
Yes.
Oh.
Do you like other stories of his?
Yes, I do.
Do you like films based on them?
I do.
That
Well,
goes, yeah.
Especially if they're set in Derbyshire, where I am from.
The Lair of the White Worm, ladies and gentlemen.
Lair at the White Worm.
Lair of the White Worm, as it's
Shut
pronounced.
that window.
Shut that window. Lair of the White Worm, directed by Ken Russell.
What other films has Ken Russell done?
He has done. We discussed this with my dad earlier, didn't
You had a very extensive
He's done a couple of things. Most famously, Women in Love,
Oh, of
based on the
course.
D.H. Lawrence
Yes.
novel.
Famous
The famous
fireplace scene.
Wrestling scene, yes, absolutely.
Whoa.
If you like seeing knobs by fireplace,
Yeah.
then look at that. I'm going to pull up his
Filmography.
filmography. Oh, music videos. He did. It's All Coming Back to Me Now.
Oh.
Not the Celine Dion version, the Jim Steinman version, his Pandora's Box project.
Didn't he also do the video for Russ Abbott's Atmosphere?
No,
No.
sadly not. He did Nikita by Elton John, because he directed the Tommy by The Who,
Oh, he did
Ooh.
and Elton John obviously
Wow.
wore the big Doc Martens in that, didn't he, when
Yeah.
he did Pinball Wizard?
Yeah.
So, yes, all very, very good stuff. Let's have a look here. Where's his... he did a film, Elgar, about Elgar,
the
Or
horse.
the distilled water. Nope.
the composer.
Composer. Yeah.
Shergar.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Did Delius? That were good.
Yes,
Yeah, I
Delius.
enjoyed that.
About the TV chef.
Yeah, Delius, the TV chef. The Music Lovers, a biopic of Tchaikovsky. The Devils, that's a very famous one. Dirty Nuns.
Okay.
Is that a film, Dirty Nuns?
No, that's
Oh.
the
That's pretty
description
much
of the
the
Devils.
entire-
Oh, of course it is,
Yeah. The Boyfriend, which was a musical. He did Little Sparrow, which is about Edith Piaf. A biopic of King Ludwig of Bavaria.
Oh, that famous one that he did.
Well, he wanted to, but he never made them, which is a shame. And he did Mahler. He did loads of stuff with about composers, because he wanted to be a ballet dancer.
Right.
That was what he wanted to be. Oh, he directed Rudolf Nureyev, one of the 20th century's great ballet dancers,
Right.
in the biopic of Valentino
Yeah.
by Rudolf Valentino.
Did he also direct, Ken Russell, didn't he also direct the Will Ferrell ice skating film Blades of Glory?
Did it?
Thankfully not.
Gonna. Shh.
Sorry.
It's fine. Did it to myself, mate.
So, Ken Russell teaming up with the cinematographer with my favourite name, Dick Bush.
Yeah.
So, The Lair of the White Worm. It's
Fucking incredible. love it.
1988, which is the same year as last week's Slimeball Bowl-O-Rama nonsense. So,
Yeah.
interesting to have two films from the same year, loosely the same genre, horror, fantasy kind of thing,
Yeah.
but two very different things, because this is, let's not bury the lead,
It's mad as fuck.
it's a cracking little
Yeah.
crazy ass
It's
film.
awesome.
It's apparently it's loosely based on the Bram Stoker novel,
very
so you
loosely.
don't have to
Yeah.
worry. I haven't read that novel.
I mean, for starters, it's set in a time where there are cars I
Oh,
don't
yeah,
imagine Bram Stoker ever seen one.
And also CDs, so
Yeah.
it's contemporary for
Yeah.
1988.
It's fucking mad, and it's
Yeah.
got a brilliant cast as well.
Yes.
Oh, totally.
I mean, we got little baby Hugh Grant.
Yeah.
We've got little baby Peter Capaldi.
Oh.
We've got
Amanda Donohoe.
Amanda
Yeah.
Donohoe. I was going to say little baby, but no.
No, she
little
is-
nude.
Yeah.
Very nude Amanda Donohoe.
Yeah.
She was
Amanda
very.
Donohoe.
She was
Yeah.
very nude. Yeah. And there's some. Yeah.
Properly vamping it up.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean,
Daywalker.
just as well she has got those big fangs, because the amount of scenery chewing happening,
Yeah.
she wears those down to a normal human-sized set of incisors. It's tremendous fun and well worth it. Yeah, with some.
Trippy as fuck as well.
Oh,
It
yeah.
really
There's
is.
some trippy shit going on. We start off in rural Derbyshire. We can see it's 1988, so there'll be a young Thomas King frolicking in the background.
Yeah, yeah. I was
Possibly
there.
excited about finding a fun-shaped tree in a wood.
Yeah.
And I'd have been a baby.
I would have been, how old would I have been? 5 years old in Sussex. So I wouldn't have really been in any danger. Nor would you really, Emma. You'd have been safe enough
I
elsewhere.
was
Yeah.
right in the danger zone.
Oh.
I was Kenny Loggins.
You Kenny logged in
Yeah.
to the danger zone. We start off at a farm. Temple Farm, is it?
No, Mercy Farm.
Thank you. Mercy Farm.
Oh.
Where we see an enormous mop of curly hair, and under it is future Doctor Who, Peter Capaldi.
With exactly the same gravelly old man voice
Yeah.
that he has as the Doctor.
Even though
Yeah.
But
he's
as a
clearly
young
in
man.
his early 20s.
Yeah, yeah.
He's still got that voice on him
It's-
that he's talking about it.
Proper gravitas to his
Oh,
voice.
absolutely,
Oh.
Yeah,
yes.
you-
But with this sort of really lean face and this sort of young, unblemished boy about
You
him.
keep imagining him go just like, you know, shitting out a load of extreme swearings whilst he was digging.
Well, you get the feeling that if he said he was on the phone, "Can I order a taxi, please, to Mercy Farm?" And then what would happen is the taxi driver would get out, knock on the door, and go, "Oh, sorry, mate. I think your dad ordered a taxi." "No, I ordered it." Oh God! Yeah, really, really freaking
What
out.
are you saying? I've got the voice of an old man, you fucking cunt.
Yeah.
But much more eloquent swearing
Yeah.
than I can ever
Yeah,
produce.
yeah, absolutely. So he is digging. I mean, it's really close to the house. It's just right there, in the little garden
It's an
outside this farm.
archaeological dig.
Yeah. a mini
Archaeological dig,
excavation.
and we find him just as he pulls out a large deformed skull.
Very shallow depth as well.
Yeah, it's about 5 foot deep. He can stand up in it, and he's still head and shoulders sticking out of the top.
Yeah.
He does.
He thinks it's a dinosaur skull.
He's there looking for dinosaurs, and it's like an elongated sort of cattle skull looking thing. It looks really good. It does look
It's a
proper
pretty
real.
good skull,
It
actually. Yeah.
looks great. And so he's going at it with a toothbrush, trying to get all of the dirt out of it. And one of the sisters, the farm is owned by a couple of sisters.
It's a
Is it-
B&B now.
Yeah.
It's a B&B, yeah. And so we find out their parents died in an accident.
Well, they disappeared.
Yeah.
They went missing and they were never found. So her and her sister now run the B&B.
Don't see anyone apart from this architect dude.
No,
It's,
just he's just knocking about the place,
yeah.
having a nice
You,
time.
you hear about the other guests though,
Yeah.
because apparently
I'll
one
do
of
it.
the perks of staying in that B&B is that the sisters arrive, provide them with some supper before sending them to bed with a lovely hot water bottle.
That's
or
so nice.
a hottie botty.
A hottie botty,
Aw.
yes.
Hottie botty.
Imagine that, that's
Yeah.
lovely.
Yes, and then the only time we have the opportunity to potentially see them, they go, "Oh, they helped themselves to a hot water bottle and
Yeah.
went to bed." I mean, they could have simply not mentioned that at all in the script, and I wouldn't have been. I wouldn't have gone, "Wait a minute, you mean there were beds spare in this B&B?" But it was great. It was so they're having a nice time, and he's very excited because he's hoping to attend a college doing paleontology, and he thinks that there were more dinosaurs around Derbyshire than people previously thought. That's his thesis.
Yes.
Fine. And they find out that...
Did you find that was true, Tom, in Derbyshire?
I don't
What
know
was the dino
anything
count?
about the archaeological or paleontological structure of Derbyshire.
Sweet.
What on earth were you doing there then?
Mainly knocking around in the woods, setting fire to stuff and finding grot.
Oh, right, fine,
Oh,
you better
yeah,
grumble. Yeah,
fair
fair enough. So, paleontologically speaking, Derbyshire, rural Derbyshire, very, very interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're not far from Derby, because that gets mentioned a bit, so that
Yeah.
gives you a sort of loose area. But there is a lord nearby, and things get interesting when his name Angus Flint, the archaeologist, is asked by Eve and Mary, the sisters who aren't there, because Eve is sort of interested in the Lord. She's not religious, she's the Lord of the area, up at the big house. And Mary's pretty keen on Angus, really, isn't it? From the get-go, we get the impression that she's keen.
She's sweet on him.
She is sweet on him. It's weird because they're alarmingly chaste for what is such a fuck-filled film. They go off to the big house where the Lord, played by little baby Hugh Grant.
Little babby Hugh Grant.
Yeah, he's a little bit, and who's being posher than he normally is.
Yeah, and
because he's a Lord, but
often wearing full Air Force uniform.
Yeah.
yeah, yes. And we see a ceilidh happening. They have a sort of a rock ceilidh because they've got basically like a 3-piece rock band and a violinist with a violinist that added singing a folk song, an English folk song about the tale of this white worm and about the ancestor of Hugh Grant who
Lord of Danebeth Hall or something like that. Danebeth Hall.
Danebeth, something like that.
Yeah.
And who defeated the white worm back in the long ago.
Yes.
We later find out that it was during Roman times, was it? Or
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they've got this portrait of something in the cave.
Well, they find some Roman coins and they find the mosaic on the floor.
That's right.
And then she's got the bust in her gaff, hasn't she?
They do this dance and they're doing country dancing, they're stripping the willow, they're doing all that kind of thing. And then some people come out in a big white worm costume.
Yeah, it's a bit like a Chinese dragon, isn't it?
Yeah.
Virtually the same mechanics as a Chinese dragon. And Hugh Grant is presented with a sword and he ceremonially sort of waves the sword at them and they split it in half and it's all...
Because that's how you kill a worm, is chopping it in half.
Yeah.
Famously.
Yeah.
And
like you do with an earthworm.
And then they go, oh, that was lovely. And then they go over to the buffet where Peter Capaldi shows what dreadful table manners he has by shoving this food into his mouth. And
like
it's just
noodles.
Yeah, it's like noodles. He looks like Zoidberg. He's got all these things hanging down his chin and going, oh, that's the thing. I'm hoping to find examples of paleontological interest here. Oh, really? Are you enjoying our local delicacy here? Or, yes, I am. It's delicious, very tasty. What were they? They were like pickled earthworms or something.
Pickled earthworms. Which being from Derbyshire, I've never had.
It's very local.
I
very
never had
local.
pickled egg.
Yeah, I've never even had a pickled egg. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, pickled egg, that's right.
I don't even fucking touch pickled onions.
I like pickled onion, but you can't have too many.
I like a pickled onion. I like a pickle, straight up dill pickle.
Ooh, I do like one of them.
Any pickles.
Yeah. Pickled beetroot for me.
Oh, yeah.
Pickled cabbage.
I smash it till I piss pink. Worried me sometimes that.
Yeah.
That can also be said for excessively vigorous lovemaking. Smash it till I piss pink. That's getting cut. So anyway,
It's right, because my microbiology lecturer was on about urinary tract infections, and he was like, one of the causes is vigorous sex, and then he was like, later on in lecture, about 20 minutes later, he was like, my wife often gets urinary tract infections, and I'm like, dude.
Oh, Jesus, yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Well, at least he learned that fact.
Did he say it like this? My wife often gets...
He was very modest, he was like, my wife often gets urinary tract infections.
James Dampton, Hugh Grant, they're talking about it. They're having a nice time, and then they go home, And then we get PC Ernie,
Yeah.
who played the Rancor Keeper in Return of the Jedi. Didn't do the voice though. He pops around, he's the local plod.
But he turns up after Angus and what's her name, Mary?
Yeah.
Mary.
Yeah.
They walk home through the clough.
Yes.
They walk home through, and that's where she explains what happened to her parents.
Yes, that's where we find out they disappeared, and they've been looking, but nothing.
And he's like, that's a sad story, let's have a kiss.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he says that's really sad, and then he just lunges at her, and she goes,
That's fine.
yeah, apparently fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it's a
He just wanted
distraction,
to
isn't it?
cheer her up.
Yeah. Put a smile on a lovely face.
I'm going to, and also, if you have his voice, you don't go, I'm going to kiss you.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a bit in the dark forest.
Give
You
us
don't know him
kiss.
very well. Yeah, pucker up, darling. It's yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
So, father's watch is presented to them
Yeah.
by the cop.
That's later on, isn't it?
It's
No.
when they come back from the walk.
Is it?
Yeah, they get in from the walk, and he goes, "Oh, I'm so
that's
sorry
right,
so sorry to be out so late."
Yeah.
Um,
Because he's already in the house, isn't
Because
he?
he's like,
Yeah.
oh, can't get to sleep tonight. Oh.
Oh, but whilst they're walking home through the clough on the way home, that's when they see the car.
Yes.
Ah, yes. Yeah, he notices. They go, "Oh, there's an unusual car.
Yeah,
We
Mary
didn't
sees
recognise
it,
it."
yeah.
Yeah.
Jaguar type lights off, driving
Yeah.
towards the temple house.
Yeah. Well, that's unusual. So he gets informed of that, and he goes, "Well, I'll have to look into that." But here's your dad's watch. It turned up near a cave, near a sort of a potholing favourite, wasn't it?
Yeah. I think,
Yeah.
because Mary had been there quite a lot.
Yeah. They disappeared outside Temple House, and the watch turned up by the
Miles away inside this cave.
in this
Yeah.
cave where potholers go and all that kind of thing. And they're like, well, we better go out there first thing in the morning and go and look. And he's like, I'll go with you. I'll help. I'll menace the cave into telling me what it needs.
Eddie, I must point out to the listeners, is making Peter Capaldi's character sound like a very sinister guy.
Yeah,
he's
no.
not actually.
He's the nicest
really
guy.
sweet.
He is,
lovely.
yeah,
He's
he is.
proper nice in
And
this.
under
He's
that
like-
mop of that hair.
Yeah, no, he does have the most unruly mop of curly hair in it.
I mean, it's like so far away from Malcolm Tucker.
Oh, it
Yeah.
really is.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
even more wayward than his Doctor Who hair.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
incredible
Yeah.
He's
floppy
in
mop
silly
His
white.
hair.
Doctor hair goes straight up.
Yeah.
He's got a sort of Bride of Frankenstein thing going on. This just goes out.
It's a
Yeah.
centre parting.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a centre parting that just goes.
Yeah,
Like when you
it's-
see him, it's bouncing with him.
Yeah. It's bless him. No, he's a very, very sweet and kind person, but that voice just sets it up. So they go to bed and then they so the copper, PC Ernie, he goes.
Who, let me
Yeah.
just say this, would never ever in real life been allowed to be a policeman because he's got such a wonky fucking eye that he would never have been allowed in the police because he wouldn't have met the vision criteria.
His eyes might be slightly misshapen, but they might be vision-wise might be fine.
Well, yeah, but they're definitely not on the same track.
He's just keeping an eye out.
yeah, maybe it's a Derbyshire police thing.
What's more important than
That's it. One eye on the road,
yeah.
one eye on fucking trees to the side of the road, just to
Yeah,
make sure
just
there's
in case.
not a dirty nonce knocking around in them.
Yeah. To be honest, the nonce would be the least of this community's problems by the end of this story. Probably why there's no nonces around. They're just the white worms getting him.
Fed on that.
So we go to the wood, and he's wandering up towards it, and he stood there. And does he get bitten first?
He gets bitten
But yeah,
first.
but he calls his mate first, and he's like,
Oh,
"Hey,
yeah,
come
yeah.
over." And he's like, "I'm having my tea, mate," and then he's like, "Oh, but seriously, get the car." And he's like, "You got the car."
We take away. We'll get cold. Get a taxi.
We
No.
arrested him. He's not in a cell now.
He goes, yeah, can't, because I've arrested the taxi driver for drunk driving.
Oh,
and
yeah.
rather than Ernie the copper being very sort of, like clever and police
Yeah.
officer, you've got the taxi, haven't you?
Yeah, yeah.
Bring
Commandeer
his
the taxi,
Commandeer
yeah.
the taxi. He
He's
goes,
like,
but take your bike. He goes, I can't, I've broken my foot. And it's like, well, how does he not know that his colleague's got a busted foot?
I think we're supposed to infer that the colleague is just going, fuck off.
Yeah.
I think it's not, that isn't brilliantly presented.
No.
And also...
also, just bizarre.
Also, he says... Also, I think they were recorded at different times because they say different things. He goes, I'm having my dinner. What do you mean you're having your supper?
Yeah.
It's like what?
Yeah.
He's like, what I like is that he's doing that thing where he's like passive aggressively correcting him. Like when people go, are you off on your lunch? Yeah, I'm going on my dinner. It's like, oh God, you know what you mean. Are you going for your midday meal? He's there going, all right, fine. And then all of a sudden, Amanda Donahoe appears from nowhere, dressed fucking... her clothes are... when she's wearing them, her clothes are amazing in this film. She looks...
Costume designer. Oof.
Absolutely stylish as
Beautiful.
fuck, constantly.
Incredible costumery.
Yeah. Really, really wonderful.
She really does look... It's such 80s chic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, she's stunningly attractive in this film.
She's like red-braced yuppies are like, I need that to be my wife to go along with my money portfolio, and so she appears and goes, hello, Ernie, and
Ernest, she doesn't call him
Ernest, of course, yes, hello, Ernest, and then he suddenly goes, oh, I've been bitten by I've been stung by a snake. Bees sting, snakes bite. Come with me, and then she sucks out the poison from his ankle. Far more sensually than one would need to.
Yeah.
And also, it's noted she doesn't spit it out. She's sucking on his ankle, then she just gets up, and then she just sort of like gets a tissue and just sort of, as if she's just finished eating soup, just sort of mops her mouth a little bit. And then you find out later, very quickly you find out that she is the White Worm. She is a snake dragon monster from hell.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
A day-walking vampire bitch.
Yeah, basically, yeah. It's not quite vampiric, but it's getting there.
But what a way that
snaky.
you find out. It's the most incredible way. She goes to the house of the girls, the next door, the B&B, basically because she knows them. She speaks to Ernest about them. Ernest tells them about their troubles and they found the dad's watch. And she goes to check on the girls because she's known them from days of old sort of thing. She got to know them quite well after the parents disappeared. And she walks into the house, she wanders around and she finds the skull.
The skull's on like a desk
in Angus's room.
In Angus's room. Angus has been clearly like making notes or whatever, like analysing it. And it's just out on the desk. And the way she holds on to it, she's very tactile. She caresses it, and she sort of cradles it almost like a child.
Yeah.
And she is just delighted that she's found it, and she carries it out. And then
before she like spits venom at the cross.
Yes, she walks to the top of the landing.
There's a crucifix with Christ on the cross on the wall, and she just opens her mouth, and she has the fangs that, when her mouth is closed, they would reach below her chin.
Yeah.
They're really, really long, these fangs.
Snake fangs.
Yeah, snake fangs, complete snake fangs, and this arcing jet of
bile.
Bile-coloured muck shoots out, and it goes across the crucifix and the wall.
Yeah.
And then she just leaves, and she's like, pleased with myself. Stuck it to Jesus.
Yeah.
And
she just leaves it on the wall, though, like...
Homegirl don't give a shit.
Yeah, she ain't giving no shits about
very
that.
much what it probably says in her character thing, Homegirl don't give a shit.
Yeah.
It's loosely her arc.
Don't get it on herself either, because she's classy.
Oh yeah, no,
she
absolutely.
knows to keep it.
Yeah, she's not gobbed on her scent, and she's wearing a beautiful white coat as well, and pristine.
So she knacks off with that, takes it, and I don't think we ever see it again, do we? It's just
yeah, we do.
Oh, beg your pardon.
Yeah, we do. We see it later on.
Oh yeah, I think we do. Yeah, no, you're right. So they all come back from the B&B people. The people from the B&B come back after a morning potholing, looking for more evidence of missing parents.
No, they don't.
Oh,
not yet. No, because Eve turns up first with Hugh Grant.
Yep.
Hugh Grant eats a carrot.
Yep.
But Eve goes upstairs.
Yes, she does. Well, what she does? Yeah, beg your pardon.
finds
Yeah, Eve comes back and she finds. Yeah, she finds the letter and the watch.
Yeah, they've come back from the party from the night before.
Yeah.
To find the watch on the table and a note from Angus and Mary saying that they've gone off on a search party.
Yeah. And so Eve is like really overcome with, you know, quite rightly overcome with the sadness, and Hugh Grant goes, "Oh no." And then he wanders over, picks up a carrot and just starts eating it. Yeah. The entitledness of the ruling classes, I suppose.
There is, as well, I must point out, during this film's called The Lair of the White Worm, and throughout, from the very beginning of the film, there is very prophetic sort of white worm imagery which keeps appearing with like ominous music over the top.
Yeah.
Like right at the very beginning, when Angus finds the skull, he sends Mary off to get a hose pipe so that he can clean it up, and the hose pipe is coiled up and white, and she trips over it, and as she trips over it, it like rears up like a white worm, and then that keeps happening, and it happens with wires and hoover pipes and hose pipes and anything else that might be a washing machine fucking hose that comes from the back from a tumble dryer, that kind of thing. Anything that's attached to a wall ends up becoming a prophetic image of a white worm. Yeah. Which I found incredible.
So what we're dealing with is a level of filmmaking that Slimeball Bowl-orama could only ever dream of in its fetid, sweaty little teenage fantasies. This is littered with Ken Russell stuff.
Yeah.
There's lots of Christ imagery.
Yep.
It's
really
sexual as fuck.
Yeah, really trippy. I mean, when
well, we get our first trippy scene.
Yeah. When
very soon after this, because he says, "I'd like to have a look at the this dinosaur skull," and she goes, "Oh, it's in Angus's room," and so he goes up and so Hugh Grant, James, is looking, he goes, "Oh, Angus's room, here we go," and he can't see it. Yeah. Obviously, it's not there, so he stays
she goes upstairs.
She's leaning on the wall, pretty much.
Yeah, she goes upstairs.
She's going to have a little nap.
I'm going to lie down, and because it was all too much for her. Yeah. And she notices, the watch and the memory and, feeling a bit fragile.
To go and see him,
so as she's going upstairs, she passes the cross on the wall and the very noticeable... spray of muck on it,
goop on there.
Yeah, and she looks at it quizzically and she touches it, and the moment she touches it, all of a sudden, she's got a fucking vision of
a lot to dissect.
Roman times and a crucifix, a man being crucified.
It's Jesus on the cross. He's credited in the credits as Jesus.
Yeah, so it's Jesus on the cross. There's Romans there, and the Romans, and there's a white worm that wraps himself around Jesus. And there's lots and lots of white-clad nuns. One of which is Eve.
Yes.
Right, and these white-clad nuns are watching Jesus being crucified. And I don't remember reading about white-clad nuns in the Bible, but anyway. No. And all of a sudden, the white worm appears, wraps itself around Jesus, and the appearance of the white worm sends the Roman soldiers on basically a frenzy of violence and
sexual violence, basically. And so there's
quite a strong.
There's some very very clear images of defiled nuns, which is not out of Ken Russell's wheelhouse. But also you see
the ladyship.
You see ladyship. Yeah, you see her.
Lady Marsh.
Yeah, Lady Marsh in more of her worm.
Guys.
So with the fangs out, with a much more sort of
snake-like makeup on, and
it's really distinctive, like really nice visual imagery.
And she's naked.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's later on when she's painted blue, isn't it?
No, I think
that's when it starts, because you see.
Oh no, she's painted blue. Oh yeah. That's like her true form or something. Yeah. She's sort of blue because she serves the white worm. The white worm is actually a real worm rather than she's like a sort of a pagan demon-y thing.
Because that's the picture I saw and I was like, "What's this?" And then eventually found the Lair on. I was like, "This is amazing."
Yeah.
Very cool.
Now this one's this one was Emma's suggestion, and I'm eternally grateful that she chose it because it's a great bit of work.
Oh, it's a stunning film.
Very cool.
Yeah, really, really wonderful. So thank you for that, Emma. So thank Emma for this one if you choose to have a look at it.
The person who posted their gig and had the picture, because that was rad. Anyway.
Yeah, really, really cool. Yeah, really, really fun. So she has this. It's probably about a minute or 90 seconds. It's quite long. This image, and then she just collapses.
Yeah.
And she says, I think it's connected to this thing, and I don't know why. And he said, well, let's go and have a look for this skull then. They go up and they start, because they can't find it, they start looking through all of Angus's drawers and under the bed and stuff. And then...
Oh, what are you doing looking through my drawers?
Oh, I can't believe you're looking through my drawers, you big twats. Roughly what he says. So he goes, oh, what's the going on here? And he's like, oh, you've nicked my skull. They went, there isn't a skull in here. And they're like, ooh, skull has been taken, skull has been taken, skull has been taken. And so they go off and do other stuff.
Yeah.
But at this point, it's raining. And there is a venture scout stood on the side of the road. It is slashing down, and he is walking along, and Ladyship drives past and goes, ooh, I wonder. Does he thumb her down? Does he flag her down? Or...
He definitely thumbs her down.
Does he...
He's hitching a lift.
Yeah,
he's hitching a lift, okay.
He wants to go to scout camp
But
and have his dinner.
He sees, what's his name? He sees James, the Lord,
Oh,
driving
yeah.
past, and he tries to thumb him down, and James just drives straight past. He's having none of this. He won't stop for a scout.
And he's actually a nice lad.
But he's also sort of a bit freaked out by what's gone on, so he's like, I'm not interested, I'm not paying attention to stuff, he's just off. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. But
isn't this after he's gone to visit her at the house? No, he turned up afterwards. Yeah, sorry, yeah.
So, the only other car on the road ever is Ladyship in a lovely sports car.
Very nice.
Type Jag.
I must say, her glasses, oof.
Yes.
Beautiful.
And so she says, oh, get in. And he goes, oh, can you take me to the youth hostel somewhere?
I need to get to youth hostel to have my tea.
Yeah, I need to get my dinner at youth hostel and have it.
7.
Oh, no. And she goes, oh, well, we simply can't have you soaking wet. Come back to mine and dry out. And so she's basically going, oh, why don't you come back to my place to dry off and
You really
fart?
shouldn't be in these wet clothes.
It's like, I mean, she couldn't be more obvious about it at all. And he's like, and then next thing you know, they're both lying on fur rugs.
Yeah, in front of a fire.
Yeah, in front of a roaring fire, playing Snakes and Ladders with the largest white snake on the middle of the board. He goes, oh no, you've slid all the way down to the bottom.
Yeah, but she's also wearing wearing lingerie.
She's wearing a very revealing set of lingerie
and thigh-high leather boots.
Yeah, and he's wearing like pajamas and a dressing gown.
And an expression that says he's not quite ready for this.
Yeah. And he's like, and all he can do is just go, is dinner ready yet? I'm hungry.
Yeah.
It's there. She's like, you'll get plenty fed.
She's like, shall we put on some music? What do you like? I can play the mouth organ.
And then he cracks out into this like old kind of timey mouth organ, like
and she starts
Swaying,
pole dancing without the pole, and then she has to sort of snatch it from him. I go, no. And then she puts on a CD.
Yeah.
And then she says, right, well, dinner's not going to be ready for a while, so come and have a bath. And it's do you know what? It's a bit like if Harry Potter was made in the 80s, then that bathroom that he goes to where he opens up the egg, like the magic egg that tells him where to go, that would pretty much be the bathroom that they used, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It would be that with a few more pipes.
And a few more bubbles.
Yeah, a few more bubbles, but mind you, there's a fair few bubbles.
Oh,
and so he's sat there, presumably naked in the bath, and she's just lying along the side, draped like she's on a chaise longue, still in her underwear. And she's like, stand up. And he's just like, all right. And so he stands up, and off camera, she dips down with her mouth open, and then all of a sudden, just hear, which is the noise that her teeth make.
Yeah.
And so she bites him on the knob,
Yeah.
or we're led to believe, and then he just freezes still.
Yeah.
Because she's paralysed him, and she's just saying,
Venom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're paralysed now. And then he sort of sits back down in the bath, sort of lowers gently.
Yeah.
And then the doorbell goes or something, and she's
Yeah.
like, oh, what a shame. So she just puts her boot on his head and just pushes his head under the water and goes, never mind.
It was better this way for you.
Yeah, and trots off, and it's James, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
Or
James.
James comes in to sort of ask about the
'Cause-
watch.
What James lacks in stopping by and letting Boy Scouts in his car, he is really good at actually investigating.
Yes.
So
He's proper interested. He's proper into
Yeah.
it. He gets his detective on quite enthusiastically.
yeah,
And he's like, "Oh, I was just having a game of. I was just doing the. You were playing snakes and ladders by yourself." And and all this
Brandy,
kind of thing.
two glasses.
Yeah, and all of that. Yeah, and he's a bit rubbish at being a detective because he's
Yeah.
saying it all out loud to someone who could be a suspect. But
And she's kind of like, because they're chatting about snakes and stuff in the thing, and then she's like, I hate snakes, and he's like, but you're playing snakes and ladders, and she's like, it's a trauma thing. It's fine. Part of my recovery. I'm attracted to it for some reason.
yeah, she's he's giving it. He's being a bit clever for his own good, which I always enjoy. But so then he's like, so you don't know anything about this watch or anything, like, oh, terrible. But I came back early from wherever, and so yeah, it's all a bit.
And then just as he's rumbling her, she's like, oh, but. Then kind of starts weeping.
Yes.
And he hugs her, and it's all very like, and then he's just like, this is getting more and more. Yeah.
I'm following a lead.
Like he's become all of a sudden becoming the lord of a manor after inheriting the lord of the manor from obviously what must be his dead parents.
I assume his father. Yeah.
Turns you into some form of detective.
Yeah.
Like.
But then he's the
Batman.
ancestor of someone who slayed the the worm thing, isn't he?
And he's taking it all a bit seriously.
Yeah.
This worm legend.
Yeah.
This is my family's story. So
it must be true.
also I'm independently wealthy.
Yeah.
I might as well pursue this and be one of those eccentric lords instead of one of the bothersome ones.
Well, every night he goes to bed, he's got the picture up there, and he just stares at it. He's like, ooh.
Whilst wearing an Air Force uniform.
Comes off after her, after the event.
He does wear an Air Force uniform a lot.
So Lord and Lady have a little smoochie.
They do, yeah.
He's like, can I see you again? She's like, oh yes. Oh yes.
My favourite bit about that scene, that whole bit, is Hugh Grant knocks on the door and she answers the door to him, and she's wearing like this really long sort of dressing gown robe, almost like a really oversized sort of like really chic kimono thing.
Yeah.
And she opens the door and Hugh Grant is stood there in full Air Force uniform, and she says to him, are you here to read the meter? And he's like, no, I'm not here to read the meter. Are you with the police? No, I'm not with the police. Are you a postman? No, I'm not a postman. It's like, he's wearing full military garb.
Yeah, because the thing is, if you see someone in full military garb and you're a lady wearing that and you go, are you here to read the meter? Then you're clearly being saucy and all that kind of thing. But if you do it 3 times, you're like, yeah, all right, we get it, love.
Yeah.
Come on, let's
not
over-egg the pudding here.
Should have gone, there was there's a lot of pornography which involves people in uniforms.
Yeah.
They could have gone down that route.
That, or she was just going, butcher, baker, candlestick maker, accountant.
Yeah.
It's like,
but I did like a little thing, did peek her boots out, and it was like, oh, cool. Anyway. That was a great scene.
That's when she gets the skull back because she's paralysed Kev.
Yeah.
And she after he's paralysed and he's in the water, she gets the skull and then she brings the skull down as if to perform some kind of ritual.
She's interrupted,
And then the doorbell goes and she goes,
oh.
Yeah.
And puts the skull down. And then the skull's never seen again, I don't think, after that.
I think because later it turns out she needs a virgin to sacrifice.
Yeah.
To make the worm, to give the white worm more power.
And to also bring it out of its lair.
And bring it out of its lair. So she clearly went, well, I reckon this...
Kev's defo a virgin.
Kev is a virgin like
with
fuck.
With his BO and halitosis, as she mentioned.
She does mention... She does,
takes this out of him when he's paralysed, nasty bastard.
Yeah, well, that's it. So she's like, your BO and your halitosis, and that hasn't been anywhere before, and all that kind of thing.
But and that's all well and good, but he's in a bath.
Yeah.
And she's just washed him.
When we first meet him, she's just there washing his back.
And he's like, girl, where's my dinner?
He's like, oh, I'm going to be late for my dinner.
Could have had steak.
Oh, and there's a bit where he goes, am I not staying at the youth hostel tonight?
Like, yeah.
It's all very well and good that you've loofed me half crack for me, but where's me sausage and mash?
Yeah.
They should have just had a scene where he was just eating, because that would have been...
He was just cramming food into his maw because he was just that fucking starving. He's not eating all day. He's proper ready for it.
So she's had the cough he's like, oh, Eric's having his dinner. And now she's got him who's constantly wanting dinner. Blooming heck.
There's a very dysfunctional relationship with food in this. I don't know if that's a trope of Ken Russell's work, but there's more horror-y stuff. So then we're on to a new day, aren't we? It's a brand new day, and
anything could happen.
Yeah, what does happen?
Their paper says something about them not finding anything.
Oh yeah, and also interesting thing. We need to skip back a bit. When Eve looks at the watch again after she's touched the stuff, the hands on the watch have turned to snakes.
But she don't notice that. Hugh Grant notices.
Hugh Grant notices it and goes, "Were those like that before?" And she goes, "What?"
Actually, you know what happens next? Hugh Grant goes home. His butler, Hugh Grant goes home. He looks at his painting, and then he's like, oh, and then he kind of pops out of his bed somehow and into the painting in his uniform.
Oh, he has.
And delves in the cave because he has a dream.
He has a dream sequence, doesn't he? Yeah. Another trip.
Presumably the venom from kissing.
Is that the bit where he's on the plane?
Yeah.
Ladyship. Yeah.
Wow,
so Ladyship lets him
that's fucked, isn't it?
Yeah,
it is.
That is a fucked up dream
the
sequence.
The pen thing and the red. Oh man.
Oh god, the pen thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
and you're like, durr.
There's a red marker pen, like a Sharpie, which he uses to express an erection.
It is one of the least fucking
subtle.
It's awful.
It's so obvious.
You go, we get the point. Thanks for that.
I mean, the thing is though, is that a red marker pen looks like a dog's cock.
It's
like.
Yeah.
The only way they could have made it is if he was holding a lipstick.
Yeah, and just slowly twisting it. Yeah.
But it's interesting because they all have different roles. So she's getting on the plane and she's letting him on, and then Eve comes by and gives him this newspaper and it's got the thing in, and then Mary's just giving commands for their statements and stuff.
The two girls from the B&B are stewardesses.
Yeah.
And they were still called that in them days, so don't at us.
And then she's got this Ladyship has got this evil kind of drink, and she's offering it up to their parents who are sat there and kind of I think paralysed or kind of out with it.
Yeah.
And then he's kind of confronted because she's trying to poison him, and he's like, no
poison, thanks.
Away. And
all right then, we will les off over here.
Yeah, and they start the girls. Amanda Donahoe's character does the white worm in the dream sequence, and the two stewardesses played by the two sisters.
Yeah.
They are wearing they're all dressed as stewardesses, and they're all wearing very sexy sort of short skirts, and they keep raising their skirts to show the tops of their stockings.
They're sort of they're dressed sort of 60s trolley dollies.
Yeah, and then they all start rolling around on the floor together, having
Mary's
a little wrestle. Mary's still giving the safety.
Yeah, Eve and the white worm Well, and it's basically it's sort of portent. It's
very portentous, isn't it? It's basically telling him that.
So they're having a sort of naughty girl wrestle.
Yeah.
And he's pointing his pen skywards.
And then they kind of split in the cabins, and you just see these like little legs peeking out, like all nicely. But one of them's got like poisonous venom, and one of them's got the rin, so we can eventually tell who to run to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then things start going horrible, and then he wakes up, and it's sort of this. It's all a bit sort of none the wiser, but yeah. So he's got some residual venom from the kiss, rather than be. So I don't know if she's trying to frighten him off or what, but that's the sort of vibe you're getting. Do they then decide that they're going to attempt to like search the caves again?
Yeah.
Because they get bored as fuck doing this, but Hugh Grant's just like, no, come on, more searching, and all like the other three are going,
oh no, we've searched that cave 100 times. We didn't find nothing in there.
Well, maybe we could look one more. No, we're going to look 1,000,000 times more. Just one more will do, will it not? No, millions of them. And then they sort of work out that they sort of like talking about the legend again, like, oh, the song will beat the worm and all this kind of thing. And then at this point, this is when Eve goes, I'm bored, I'm going home. So
sandwiches.
Yeah, so she strops off
from the cave,
and is then a ladyship encounters her and says
on a tree.
Yeah, she's up a tree,
which is a bit like Adam and Eve, isn't it?
Yeah, very nice.
She's in a tree wearing very slinky leather trousers.
Yeah.
And she says, "Oh, I saw a little kitten climb into the tree in distress, and so I followed it in the tree to rescue it. And then the kitten got down from the tree.
And now it isn't here.
Yeah,
it's just like it didn't even escape. It's just not there.
And I can't get down from the tree. You must help me.
Yeah, by giving me your hand.
Yeah.
Holds onto her hand and then she just hops down.
Yeah. And then she uses vampire hypnotism to get Eve to follow her to the house.
Yeah. And when they're at the house, she says, "Call home and tell them that you've gone to London."
Yeah.
This is
That's a skip later. Yeah.
This is one of the sexiest bits in the film, though, because what you see is a sunbed.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
And then the sunbed opens, and Amanda Donohoe's laid.
Coffin, isn't it?
Which is kind of like a coffin, but she's completely naked at this point. Yeah. And then she turns around and
she sort of rolls over onto her front.
Yeah. And then she turns around and she says, using sexy vampire hypnotism language, "Eve, you must disrobe." And then Eve takes most of her clothes off, but she's left with just a shirt on.
She's left with sort of a long shirt and her underwear, and that's enough.
That's it. And then Amanda Donohoe starts sort of like talking about how they need a virgin to sacrifice, and she's going to test her. And that's when she pulls out this horrendously grotesque, sort of like what I would call Roman dildo.
It's a wooden stake, basically.
But phallic. Really
wildly phallic. It's like the sort of stakes that Buffy used to use.
Yes.
Writ girth.
Yeah, but with a bell end carved into the top.
And sort of like runes and imagery carved around the side of it. Yeah. And she sort of just runs it up Eve's leg. And then checks her, is how she basically phrases it. Eve makes a sort of a wink, or no, she doesn't. She does a sort of a gasp, like a sort of a shallow gasp and a noise. Yeah, she goes, as Tom said, which is the sexiest noise a woman can make. Yeah. As far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. And Amanda Donohoe has now established her virginity using an ancient Roman.
Using an item that could rid a person of their virginity simply by being in the same room as them. This is that fucking phallic. No one is a virgin after laying eyes on that thing. It is just immediately. If she'd have shown that to Care Visit, then he'd have been no good. I'm amazed Eve is still any good after being in the same room as it. It's ridiculous. And
Yeah, then she goes, you're going to phone home and tell them that you've gone to London.
it's all too much.
Yeah, that you're at Derby train station, and you're going to go into London for 2 days because of the stress of it all.
Yeah.
And you must make it very convincing.
Yeah.
And then Eve follows by making the least convincing phone call ever. But while she's making this phone call under the influence of vampiric hypnotism, she looks down and catches sight of her own ring, and Eve is quite a religious girl, even though she don't go to church or nothing, as her sister says later in the film. Yeah. And she notices on her own ring, there's a crucifix on her ring.
She has got Christ on the cross on a ring.
And obviously that seeing Christ on the cross on the ring starts to break the hypnotism.
Yes.
And she starts to realise where she is. And then she goes, I'm at Derby train station, I'm going London for a few days because of the stress of it all. And then she just shouts out the name Dionysus or Dionys or whatever the name of the
monster,
itself,
the pagan
the
god,
pagan white worm god.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to the farmhouse where Mary has taken this phone call, doesn't it? And and Mary basically says, "Oh, it's my sister. She says she's going to London for a few days and she's at Derby train station." Yeah. But then she done a scream and said, Dionys or something like that. She sounded all right though.
And then that's when Capaldi's ears prick up and go, "Well, if I'm correct, then he was a pagan god,
a pagan worm
god from around Roman times, and exactly like the big fucking mosaic that I found in the fucking thing earlier,
and the skull."
Yeah. And what I like is that I mean, there's basically there's 3 locations that are houses, that are dwellings. Yeah. There's Temple House.
Yep.
There's the Lord place. There's
Mercy Farm.
And there's Mercy Farm. There's like 6 people that we meet at all. And she goes, "Tell them you're going to London for some peace and quiet." Yeah. Really? Because you live in the middle of fucking nowhere. I'm gonna get off at King's Cross Station for some peace and quiet.
Like, go to the Lord's palatial house, sit in a room by a fire, have a read of a book.
You could have a whole wing. I bet he'd let you have a whole wing to yourself.
Because they're like
he's sweet on you as it is, yeah.
So yeah.
He's like, tell you, and then he'd just say to his butler, I say, "Will you open up the West Wing?" And you go, "Yeah, all right then, sir, if you think that's a good idea." He's one of those disapproving, but the butlers that disapprove of the young lords, so doesn't think anyone under 60 should be a lord.
He's like the house elf for Sirius or whatever.
What, he's yes, I forgot his name as well.
Caution, not Caution, that's a cat.
It's called Garbage or something, isn't it?
Yeah.
Creature,
that's it. Yeah, well, if Master thinks that's correct, I'm fine.
Alright then, Master.
Which I always admire. I always like any sort of servant or servile individual who just does everything by going, "Yeah, okay then." Anyone who just goes and then does the thing, I always appreciate that. But so that's when they put it all together and they go, "The White Worm, oh, and she had a bust of the Roman guy, of the Roman thing.
Marcus Aurelius, what did they call him? The Maverick.
The Maverick Emperor of Rome, and so they're putting all this together. And they go, "Of course," and then so they get in through the back way or something like that, don't they? That's it. This is when Capaldi starts using his superpower.
Yeah. It's a superpower
of traditional Scottish music.
But not before my favourite scene in the entire film. So Hugh Grant is at home, and they've obviously worked out a plan to lure the white worms. They've worked out that they're all snakes, right? And what power can you have over snakes? Why, only snake charming. And so Hugh Grant has set up some speakers on the top of on the roof of his manor house, right? Giant speakers up on the roof so that this music can be heard from everywhere. But he's looking through his father's record collection, and he says to his butler, this is amazing.
This is a great scene. You're right.
He goes. What's the name of the butler? We'll call him Butler. Butler. Do you know where my father's snake charming record is? Because I do remember him having some snake charming records.
I'm looking through his North African record collection.
But I can only find a record called Turkish Charmers. Is that the right record? And then he plays it, he puts it on and he plays it, and it's not snake charming music.
No.
And the butler, in one of the bizarrely campist scenes, turns to him and goes, my lord, have you tried the B-side?
Because he's sort of saying, I believe this was for a specific form of cultural dance that the young ladies would embark upon.
Belly dancing.
Yes, in the common parlance, belly dancing.
He goes, try the B-side, master. I believe the snake charming music is on that side.
And on that side. And so we get Ladyship sort of just shimmying along just towards...
He turns the record over and the snake charming music plays, then it shows the roof and you can hear the music coming out. And obviously this spreads over the Derbyshire Valley to Temple House.
Yes.
And Amanda Donohoe, being a snake woman herself, being a snake vampire, all of a sudden begins the most incredibly sort of like in another amazing scene-chewing bit.
Yes.
And she's wearing like a one-piece sort of like leather,
She's basically, by this point, she's given up all pretense of clothes and is just wearing fetish gear.
Yeah, she's wearing fetish gear, and she starts snake dancing.
She slinks along all over the place.
So slinky.
It is, It's proper
Amanda
sexy.
Donohoe is fucking having a great time in this film. She's really proper.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely enjoying herself like no one's business.
Yeah, and quite right too. And it really does show, because it does have an impact. Everything is deeply sexually desirable to her. Everything is.
In fact, I had a look at a review of this earlier, and there was a Guardian article called "The Lair of the White Worm." My guilty pleasure, and I mean I don't agree with the term guilty pleasure anyway. It's like a guilty pleasure is what nonces do.
If you are guilty about it,
then that's a guilty pleasure. Whereas just enjoying, but it calls it.
Do you know what I love? Fucking dogs.
Yeah,
that's a guilty pleasure, mate.
It describes the film.
Not enjoying Wannabe by the Spice Girls. No, that's not a guilty pleasure.
But this article describes the Lair of the White Worm as Ken Russell's wonderfully phallic farce.
They're not wrong.
It is. I mean, it is such a wonderful. It's a farcical horror film, but it's so good. It's brilliant.
I mean, the fact that the White Worm could be a name for a penis, presumably a white penis. But you know what I mean. It's there's even that down to that level. It's there is no unsullied in this. It is all sullied. It's like we say, cure the unsullied. They would grow back. Would be that which would be an amazing transformation scene. So but then at one point the power cuts and she.
That's right.
She goes back. She the spell's broken.
She snaps out of it. Yeah. Someone. I think the power's. It's
overloaded. It's overloaded by
the speakers on the roof.
By the speakers being powered, and they've run extension wires and stuff.
Which is odd, considering the fact that at the beginning of the film they had a massive party in the house with a sound system.
Also, speakers are generally passive.
But the butler's proper dodge, so he might have sabotaged anyway. Because he's like. He's in on it.
He's not a good butler.
No,
he's dreadful.
Because he's like, when they call and something happens, and I think the Angus or someone calls, and then he's like, oh no, they're fine. Everyone's fine. Don't worry about it. They're not calling to the cry for help.
Yeah, he's no Alfred out of Batman.
No. Who's the gold standard of great butlers. Will Sir be risking one's life and sanity again tonight? Yes, Alfred. Very well, I shall wash your tights. Good old Yellow Pages. So this hasn't worked. They failed to lure her away, so they have to try other stuff. By this point, has Ernie been... PC Ernie has been bitten by this point and is under her spell, or...?
PC Ernie goes to collect Mary. She somehow gets in the car and transports her to Ladyship's house.
Oh, yes, of course. Because both the sisters end up captured. One of whom, under mystical vampire worm hypnosis, one of them much more along the chains and ropes form of being convinced.
Because she's like, this is where it's a police station.
Yeah.
Where are we going?
Yeah. And then you see on his arm or his hand or something, whenever someone's doing something bad, generally 2 bite marks will be revealed, and they go, so she has got power over them. They, Hugh Grant and Peter Capaldi, in the team up we've always wanted to see, realise that they've been taken to the manor house, and something is afoot.
So Capaldi...
They need music.
Puts it there. Well, no, because Capaldi... Well, I don't know if this is right, because Lord goes to the cave at some point and gets like a whole search party.
Oh, yeah,
Capaldi goes back to the manor with his bagpipes.
Yes, this is... what Capaldi does is he also swings home to get his bagpipes that he's brought with him on his archaeological dig.
Because why not?
Oh, absolutely, sure. But he also gets changed into full kilt, sporran, sash, argyle, roll neck jumper, and bother boots, and...
You can't pipe in jeans.
No, it would be impolite at best and culturally insensitive at worst. So he goes piping around the house, and this stops Ladyship in her tracks, as bagpipes tend to do, even to people who aren't worms. And he's attempting to find his way through the house, but he keeps on going, and he's knocked out, isn't he? Isn't he injected with something, or no?
Because I think at one point he encounters the copper,
yes,
like Ernie, but Ernie's full on transformed, so he's like, so he's kind of like and kind of you see his little face, and then he follows him round with the bagpipes.
He plays them at him. He plays the bagpipes aggressively at Ernie.
To the point where he kind of hold each other in kind of like a wrestling style hug. But then he kind of like knocks him with the bagpipes, and then he flies into the sundial, and all you see is like the sundial spike through his eyeball. Because
the sundial, the spike in the sundial is a snake.
Yeah.
At Temple House, and it's coming out of his eye is on the end of it, and it's sticking out. Yeah,
that's a great bit. That's one of the most horrific scenes in the film, and it's not horrific at all. It's it's silly.
If you're screaming, and particularly some people have a thing about eyes and stuff like that, so they don't watch Chien Andalou. Well, that's horrible anyway. But Salvador Dali's film, it's got an eyeball being sliced by a razor blade in it.
Nice.
Available to watch on YouTube. It's interesting. It's art, but it's also rubbish. An Andalusian dog, even if you have that, it looks good, but it is clearly not real. It's kind of fun.
Well, I had to skip back a minute because I thought he'd bagpipes him in the eye. I got really confused.
Yes, there's a lot of stuff happens very quickly. And so now Ladyship has got no staff, basically now. No minions. She only had the one anyway.
The bit where there's a great bit as well, which is completely bizarre and unexplained, which is
like the rest of this film.
When the mother vampire goes to get him at the house, and he hacks her in half, and then you see the 2 halves of her chasing him. When he finally vanquishes her, he trips over a drum kit. Do you remember? It falls over.
He does,
No, why is there a drum kit just in the
middle
of the party? Oh, it's from the party. But he trips over this drum kit, but it goes into slow motion as he falls over this drum kit. And it's almost as if like they had to add in like little extra like they were like, well, we've not got quite enough for an 88-minute film, which is what we need for a cinema release.
Yeah.
So if we just add in
slow that bit down.
Yeah, slow that bit down.
It's a good fall. It's a good fall. Yeah.
He just falls over a drum kit.
Yeah.
And he goes.
Yeah. And also, just a moment to talk about the sword, which looks like the Zweihander from Dark Souls.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's this fucking enormous thing, and to chop it in half, he spins around twice. First, to just get enough speed up to lift this fucking enormous, and he holds it with one hand as well.
Yeah, it's
really
like
good. He's pretty tough. It's like that's kind of hardcore, but he does look like the Zweihander from Dark Souls for any gamers out there.
Oh, that game.
And he spins round, and then spins around again in slow motion, I think. And he takes a strip because the whole thing, the song and all that talks about how he cuts the white worm in two, and the mother vampire, she's all in white, and he slices her straight through the navel, basically. And it's one of those brilliant things where there's clearly the actress is half submerged in the floor going, my top half is angry, and then just a nameless lady who's face down through the floor with her legs kicking about on the other side going, I am not credited in this film. So that was pretty good, and that's when he goes, something is afoot. And
yeah. That's the first time he notices it after he's lopped a flipping snake vampire in half.
Because she's like,
just wait a minute. And so then we're in the cave. We see Eve is in her pants, in her bra and pants, and she is suspended above and down this big hole. You can see right at the bottom. It's a bit like the Sarlacc pit in Star Wars in Jedi. And you see this white worm, it sort of zooms down, you see this white worm sort of gnashing away. And the idea is to sacrifice this virgin to the white worm, and then the white worm will be able to come back out, because what's happened is, during a cave-in,
it's got
trapped for 2,000 years.
Why? What I want to know is,
years.
there's a bit which I felt was completely unexplained. It didn't really explain why they were doing it, unless I missed something. But what the fuck was Hugh Grant doing in the caves with a big set of with equipment? What was the equipment for?
Well, I kind of assumed he was exploring it because he was trying to track down the worm or something.
They said that
he had a load of blokes with him.
They had a load of blokes and some gas canisters, and they said they were going to pump gas into the because the temple house was where an old temple to the
pagan temple
to the worm god was. Then they built a nunnery over the top of it. It was explained, and Eve was the worm. Amanda Donahoe's worm character keeps meeting characters throughout time.
Different souls.
Different souls
reincarnated. So there's this sort of Gnostic-y kind of version of Christianity going on as well.
But the temple house is linked to the cave where the white worm is via an underground tunnel. But the tunnel at the temple house is really wide, so the worm can get out. Whereas in the caves, it's very thin. Nothing can get in there. And this is where the watch was found. And apparently they're going to pump some gas into it, and that's why they've got these gas canisters.
Yeah.
They don't really explain it, do they?
See what's breached to see where the holes are so they can
That's
explore it.
right, so they were going to pump the gas out and see where the smoke came out and then follow it, and then they would find the other end of the tunnel. That was it. That was why.
Yeah. And that's why the smoke comes out and they go, that looks like Temple House. And then they're like, oh yeah, one of the 3 locations in this 4 locations. The caves, the farmhouse, Temple House, and the manor house. So, it's in one of the 4 places. It's like a really lazy point and click game with 4 locations. Where could it be? And so they head off, and Capaldi comes around and tries to find. And now at this point, Donahoe, Ladyship is just totally blue, full fang the whole time.
Drags him out.
Nude as the day she was hatched.
Except for some really bizarre looking pants.
Oh yeah, she has got pants on in this one.
And the reason they're bizarre looking, we will explain in a minute.
Yes.
Because she Sorry, I was going to say she bites his leg, doesn't she?
She does.
She's like proper, yeah. And then
Well, that's the
drags him
reveal at the end, though. that's the twist in the tale.
Oh my god! I need to talk about
spoil
that in
it.
great detail.
No, it's all right. The whole thing's spoiled.
The whole thing's
so,
spoiled. We've
So
ruined
what,
the entire
what happens
movie.
is that Eve tries to fight. That doesn't work.
Yeah.
So up gets Capaldi, and he starts fighting, and he sort of fights her off. She falls off and holds onto Eve's leg. He hacks her hand off with a knife.
Yeah, but
he saws through her
Yeah.
hand.
Before this, though, before that, these pants, right?
Yeah.
She climbs up onto to do the sacrifice.
Yeah.
And throughout the film, there's been this incredible phallic imagery. And earlier on, Eve in the film, Eve was tested using what we described as the incredible pagan dildo, right?
Yeah.
Now, Amanda Donahoe's
yeah.
Lady Marsh, right?
Yes.
She's wearing these weird pants.
She's wearing weird pants.
She only goes and screws the dildo on, and it is a pagan strap on.
It is a pagan strap on.
And she's going to.
Of biblical proportions.
And she, to call the white worm, she has to penetrate Eve with this. But based on one of the visions that we saw earlier in the film, which was, do you remember that vision where there was loads of people getting penetrated by Romans with the...
Yes, quite vividly.
Yeah.
Well, she's not going to penetrate her vaginally, she's going to penetrate her abdominally, basically stab her through the middle.
Yeah.
With this. And
sacrifice her in a penetrative sort of,
Presumably the blood's going to flow out, he's
feed the
right
worm.
excited.
And it's just, Amanda Donahoe was just banging about with, because let's just say that.
She looks like she wants to do nothing more than the world. She's so on board for this.
So on board.
It's
But
incredible.
this strap on, this thing, right? Let me just describe this. It's 2 foot long, and it's as thick as the mountain from Game of Thrones arm. It's fucking huge. This thing.
Terrifying.
It is
terrifying.
It's verging on comical.
It is.
It's how big it is.
It's a wonderfully phallic farce.
Yes, absolutely. No, there's. I mean, it's camp as Christmas. This film. Let's not forget.
Yeah.
There's all of this talk of the horror and all this, but it is camp as nuts. There's a campness to it that's very, very appealing as well, which stops it being so grotesque and unpleasant.
It's not scary in any way.
No.
If anything,
No.
If
There's a lot of hammer about it.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of
Definitely.
like early '70s hammer, but in a late '80s film.
Yeah.
And very much.
And also that, and the fact that some of the dialogue is so fucking hammy. I mean, the two girls, the two girls that are doing the worst northern accents, the two sisters, the worst northern accents.
One of them is a Danish American.
Yeah, who was in Dynasty.
Yeah.
She'd recently come out of Dynasty and then came out this, and
Her accent isn't bad for someone who's Danish and American.
No, well, I mean, she's learnt it by watching.
Watching the other lass.
What? She's learnt it by watching episodes of Last of the Summer fucking Wine.
Yeah, that's true.
And Yorkshire tea adverts. That's where she's learnt it from.
Maybe.
And that's what it's a terrible.
Ridley Scott's bread advert.
I mean, one of the first lines she utters in the film.
Sounds like Churchill.
There's some terrible dialogue.
Yeah.
But one of the first lines she utters in the film. So going all the way back to the beginning of the film. All the way back. So this is just a little aside. All the way back to the beginning. So Eve and Angus are at the archaeological dig, and Mary and Angus. Angus. He's just found the skull.
Yeah.
Eve comes out, and Mary says, "Oh, you want to come and see what Angus has found? He's found this great big skull in ground." And she goes, "Oh, I'll have a look at it later." And then she says, she runs back into the house and she utters the line, "Oh, me spotted dick." And she just runs back into the house, and I just went, "Oh my god!" And I was like, right at the beginning of the film, I thought, "No, fuck this film. I can't watch this because of that line. It was so stupid."
That was very, very silly.
Yeah.
And I did wince, but I trust Emma's tastes in things. So
and I carried on with it. Because I went, "It's Peter Capaldi. It's Peter Capaldi.
Got to
stick with it," and I did, and I'm glad I did. But just
it
that.
redeemed.
"Oh, me spotted dick." No,
yeah.
so flipping.
Thankfully, there was little more of that. It was still kind of camp and hammy, but in a slightly less shit way.
But I feel like in this film it had so many different facets. There wouldn't be something that someone wouldn't necessarily like.
No.
To a point, yeah.
Oh no, absolutely.
It's clunky. It's terribly edited. The sound. I think that there is some bad editing in it.
There's some rushed editing.
But there's also the.
I wouldn't say it's universally bad as a feature of it.
It's like the film from last week, the Bolorama, Slime Ball Bolorama. It's got a synth soundtrack, except that it's literally a soundtrack done by someone that's never encountered a keyboard before.
Yeah.
It's just hitting all the buttons to see what it
someone
sounds
who's
like.
only ever played percussion instruments in the past.
I mean, it's just like.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
The portentous moments are done by someone basically just whacking a keyboard with their forearm.
Yeah, it is a bit like that, yeah, that is true.
But it's funny, it's good.
Oh, no, absolutely. Oh, no, I would definitely recommend it for people. Oh, we're nearly at the end.
Yeah.
So, so she's approaching, Donahoe is approaching, she is fully phallused and approaching Eve, and Capaldi thinks, no, none of this. Yeah. He rushes up and sort of tackles her, tries to sort of, they have a bit of a scuffle, and
this is after he's been paralysed and woken back up.
Yeah. He got paralysed and woke up.
It's alright though, because she had some earplugs in, so she avoided that.
Oh, that's how she avoids, the music. She's got earplugs in. So she injects him with a serum, like with a paralytic.
She bites him.
Yeah.
She uses a...
No, she bites him on the leg.
Oh, yeah.
He's got a bite on his leg. She bites him on the leg and paralyses him.
Because when he raises his kilt, he can be like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Previous to that, he goes around the house with his bagpipes, he sits down on some stairs, pulls out a needle, and I thought, oh, he can't take this, and he's skagging up, and he seems to inject
You've
heroin.
got a very low opinion of the Scottish, haven't you?
Yeah.
I do, I do,
was
actually.
probably just about to watch Slime Bolorama.
Yeah.
Get himself
Anyway,
ready.
Well, what happens is that
there's no way I can watch this without being fully on heroin.
he gets, I listened to a podcast and it suggested that I get completely out of my box to watch it, so I thought I'd do that. But he, because he contacts the hospital and gets some anti-venom.
Yeah.
So that I completely fucking forgot that bit.
Yeah.
Because it's like half a sentence it gets said in, and then all of a sudden he's injecting himself with this stuff.
Because in Derbyshire in the late 80s, you could just easily phone a hospital.
Their anti-venom unit is
God.
like famously the most impressive one there is.
Stocked up with all sorts, huh?
Fuck Sub-Saharan Africa, fuck Australia, fuck all of these places, fuck the South America, all of these places with poisonous stuff. None of them more so than rural Derbyshire.
Yeah, the tropical diseases research laboratory of Derbyshire is second to none.
Oh yeah.
Actually, to be fair, the real one is in Liverpool. The real tropical diseases place is in Liverpool.
That's amazing.
But or the British one is anyway. So he's immunised himself against this, but
so he thinks.
So he gets paralysed.
Well,
he gets paralysed by the bite, and then he wakes up and he goes and sorts her out.
Yeah.
He pushes her off the edge. She's holding on to Eve's ankle, and he then drops her down the white wormhole by cutting off her hand with a knife, completely through the bone and everything, with just a fairly large knife.
And she's quite resilient to it.
Yeah, she is, and the hand remains held around the ankle, and then it suddenly, when she lands, it lets go and drops off of its own accord, which I like. And then once he's pulled Eve down, he pulls out a hand grenade.
Where the fuck has he got a hand grenade from?
I mean, to be honest, he was carrying around
I always keep one in my sporran. It's you wouldn't believe how many people hate the bagpipes. I have to be armed at all times.
No, when you have to close an expedition, not an expedition, an archaeological dig.
That's it. Along with
nothing here.
That's it. One of the many obviously, it's. I don't know why I'm going to point this out because it's so. It's a stereotype. Along with heroin and fried goods, all Scottish men keep a hand grenade in their sporran as well. You've all heard that, obviously, haven't you?
In the spirit of Rob Roy, we'll keep.
We all remember that famous scene from Braveheart where Mel Gibson pulled out a hand grenade from his sporran.
From Carnoustie to Dundee, you'll ne'er find a Scotsman without a hand grenade in his kilt.
I'm going to check my sporran arm, I'll tell you that.
Stevenson's rocket was filled with grenades. Yeah, it's master of the grenade race. It's they address the grenade on Burns Night. It's all that. Do you know Robert Burns, the national poet of Scotland?
Yeah.
He wrote a poem called "Cock Up Your Beaver."
Right.
Which is about wearing your beaver skin hat at a jaunty angle.
Right.
And about fucking.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it is or not. But yeah, so it's so close to the end. He's lying on his stomach and he's got both hands free, but he still pulls the pin out with his teeth.
Yeah.
Because which looks like more bother than pulling it out with his finger. But it's.
I mean, if you're gonna do a hand grenade, you're pulling the pin with your teeth.
Yeah.
You've got the opportunity to do that. You're pulling it with your teeth.
He's already lobbed her hand off. You're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Are you, that?
He drops it down, and the white worm is exploded.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone is a bit knackered and stuff. He releases Mary. They embrace, and they go off and they do. They sort something out. Is it the next day? And then they're like, oh yes, he and James, Hugh Grant. They finish up doing some stuff. Mm-hmm. And he goes, oh, I'll give you a lift back if you like. And he's like, yeah. And he goes, tell you what, I'm starving. Do you fancy popping into a pub for some lunch? And he goes, for a bite. Yeah. And he goes, that's a good idea. And you notice the kilt rides up a little bit. And he's got two puncture marks. Yeah. So the scene before that.
Yeah. Cut to the house.
Oh yeah, cut to the house.
And the house receives a phone call.
Yeah.
And the phone call is from the Derbyshire Research Laboratory.
It is from Gina McKee.
That's right.
McKee.
Gina McKee, I thought I
from
recognised her.
Our Friends in the North.
Yeah, she was also in The Loop with Peter Capaldi.
Yeah.
She was, yes, of course. She actually shared some screen time with him in that one rather than this, where she was clearly filmed somewhere else entirely by herself.
All right.
And also is in the excellent Mirror Mask. It's Neil Gaiman and Dave McKean film. Really, really wonderful. But yeah, she calls up to say, it's been a mistake, I'm sorry. That anti-venom we sent you.
It wasn't.
It's not right. That was what was it?
It was anti-arthritis.
It was anti-inflammatory, anti-arthritis medicine. Well, I'll send it on. Yeah, I'll send it on to you.
We'll send you the anti-venom tomorrow, even though you needed it yesterday because someone's been bitten.
Yeah. And
sorry about fucking killing someone.
Okay then. Hang up, and then Capaldi's just like.
But also, Eve definitely needed that because he gave her the antidote as well.
Yeah. So
it's
one of those. So it's one of those horror films that finishes with, and now we're all safe. Or are we?
Yeah, basically set up for a sequel in which Peter Capaldi becomes the king of the
white worm.
The white worm, the Scottish white worms.
The Lair of white worm.
The Clan McWorm.
Clan McWorm. I mean, this is a cracking bit of work, really. This is.
It's daft.
It's exemplary Ken Russell, really, isn't it?
It's daft. It's camp.
It looks amazing.
It's sexy.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's hella sexy. It really is.
Amanda Donohoe is clearly absolutely loving herself. There are several points in it where Peter Capaldi basically plays it like completely straight all the way through, right? Even the little bit at the end where he sort of like realises he's not got the right venom and he starts to feel a bit vampiric. There are a couple of moments in it, right, where I think Hugh Grant may be doubting why he's done the film. There's a couple of little bits where you kind of see on his face where he's kind of going, you can see it.
I just said that out loud, didn't I?
Yeah, he's like 28 years old.
Yeah.
He's younger than that.
No, he's 28.
Is it?
Yeah, checked he's 28 in that film.
He was 28 when he did that film. He looks very young.
Yeah.
Wow, that's alright.
Yeah, but like he'll have only been. He's only 6 years out of Oxford or whatever at that point.
28. Well, so he was 34 when he did like 4 Weddings.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So he's like 28, very young still. Young actor, probably one of his first major roles that he played, and and you can see it in his face as he falls in slow motion over a drum kit. You can see him going to himself.
Yeah.
Have I really made the right decision here?
This is with Oscar winner Ken Russell.
Yeah,
but it is like nearly,
he was off the boil at that point.
It was nearly 20 years. It was like a good 15 years since he'd won the Oscar.
Yeah, and he'd not done much since.
No.
I mean, obviously, Ken Russell went on to spend a week in the Celebrity Big Brother house.
He did, yeah.
In the same year as Jade Goody.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah.
Because he's been dead for a while, as has she, sadly. They've both been dead for a while.
The reason they killed themselves in a suicide pact after having done Big Brother.
But yeah, they both realised it. Yeah, maybe. Because some people were like, yeah, is he the only Oscar winner to have done Big Brother?
That's a very good point.
He may well be.
Yeah.
Well, there's been some actors in it.
There have been, but there were people like the guy who played Face in the A-Team and stuff. They're not as Oscar winners.
Jack D.
Yeah. Better known as a comedian in those days, of course, when he won it, and that was for comic relief. It was only a week long anyway. So.
Yeah.
But Ken Russell might be the only Oscar winner to have done Big Brother in the UK.
Wow.
There might have been some in different countries and stuff, but. Really, really top fun film, this one. Might be good for an addition to a Halloween lineup. That would be really good fun. Or just if you're looking for a horror film you've not seen before. And there's a sensibility to it. It's sort of quite nicely paced. It's sort of calm, but it keeps going. So what's your favourite bit, Emma?
My favourite bit probably is the copper getting chased with the bagpipes. And that is just, I love it. Absolutely love it.
There is
incredible.
It's bizarre because when you say, there's a bit where a vampire worm infected police officer is intimidated by some bagpipes, and you go, that sounds fucking stupid. It total sense. Makes absolute perfect logical sense to do.
The context of it is beautiful.
Especially when Peter Capaldi turns up at the house with the bagpipes, and even though they are in a situation where shit needs to get done quick, he's had enough time to get changed into full ceremonial Scottish dress, including kilt, sporran, sash across the chest. He's got the long socks on with the little tassels.
Yeah, and
he's got
the crisscross boots.
Boots, everything. He's had time to change into full Scottish dress, and
all Scottish people can put those clothes on in 6 seconds.
Well, they wear them under the clothes like Superman.
Like Spidey,
but he's even in that situation, Peter Capaldi's playing it completely straight.
Yeah.
He is a consummate professional.
Yeah, absolutely. He's like like Angus would do this. Angus Flint would behave in exactly this way, and I owe it to the character to play his truth.
He's committed.
What's your favourite bit, Tom?
I think my favourite bits in that film are the sequence with Hugh Grant going through his father's record collection.
It's this enormous sort of mahogany chest.
It is, just filled with vinyl. So there's that
pretty
bit. Great. Hugh Grant falling over a drum kit.
Yeah. Lovely.
Amanda Donohoe, just throughout the whole thing, is phenomenal.
She is a joy throughout. She is.
She is. I mean, I've never wanted to be bitten by a vampire more in my entire life.
She is death on legs. She's amazing. And what legs!
And she's incredibly attractive. She's very beautiful.
Yeah.
And she's also that film for me though. I would say it's portrayal of men and women characters. Obviously, Hugh Grant and Peter Capaldi are the two male heroes.
Yes.
And the three women in it are basically, they spend an inordinate amount of time either naked or in their pants.
Well,
It's
Mary is always chaste.
Yeah.
Mary's
Mary's
yeah.
always
She
in
was
jeans
very
and a
clever.
jumper. Yeah.
But she was like mad experienced potholer.
Yeah.
She was,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mary is always, but he's completely chaste
Yeah.
throughout the film.
She also looks really like Katie Sackhoff in Battlestar Galactica.
She
She
looks
looks just like Starbuck.
But
The haircut is mainly it, but yeah.
Oh yeah.
I would
And
say,
it's always nice to be reminded of Katie Sackhoff.
yeah.
In or out of Battlestar.
But apart from Amanda Donahoe's character being a very strong female character, it is quite sexist. It really is.
Yeah, well, it's based on a Bram Stoker
Of course it
book
is,
from
yeah.
100 years ago.
Yeah. And obviously, you know, Ken Russell's obsessed with cocks and stuff, so.
Yeah,
it's
he's obsessed with sex and Catholicism, really.
yeah.
Because he's a convert to Catholicism,
It-
and converts can often be a bit more extreme than
Yeah.
people who like grow up with it.
He really
because
likes
they
to smash.
feel like they've got to prove something.
That's
that
it.
kind of vibe.
He really sort of smashes paganism and Christianity together.
He's
quite
got this very agnostic vibe to it that
Yeah.
I like.
Yeah.
Really. It's a comprehensive film, and I think that I don't know the story of the Lair of the White Worm, the Bram Stoker story. I don't know it. I haven't got a clue.
No.
But this is apparently a loose adaptation, but it does feel like its own thing. It feels like the history's there. It's like they tell you just enough for you to go, oh, okay, but not so much you're going, all right, give it a rest for your
Yeah.
lore.
Yeah.
Really terrific.
It's nuts.
Super fun.
Definitely.
And and not a great deal of gore, but certainly vivid imagery that will stick with you.
Oh God,
Definitely,
yeah.
Because I think the scenes with the nuns and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
I get the feeling he might have been trying to evoke memories of The Devils,
Yeah.
which famously has scenes of like nuns writhing and masturbating on a fallen wooden cross with a wooden Jesus on it.
Yeah, the dream sequences are pretty terrific.
Yeah.
The
Some of the visual FX
Yeah.
are clearly dated, but
they work.
But
they work.
Yeah.
they work, and
Yeah,
also
they don't take you out of the film. You don't go,
No,
fuck
no.
off or anything.
No,
like that.
It feels
absolutely
very
not.
appropriate for the
I
film.
just realised that.
It does.
Yeah, no, you're right. There's that thing of these days. A lot of people get bent out of shape if Godzilla doesn't look realistic. You know, fucking Godzilla. What? You know what I mean? It's like that people go, oh, I can't believe that magical monster in Harry Potter didn't look very convincing. Convincing? It's not real. Get over yourself.
I read a thread the other day where someone was ranting about Godzilla, and they were. Have you seen the new Godzilla?
No, I haven't.
No.
So there's a clandestine organisation throughout these new monster films called Monarch.
Okay.
And they're like basically the anti-monster squad.
Right.
And this person
They sound awful. I don't
Yeah.
like them. I like monsters, not
Yeah.
them.
Well, this person was complaining that he felt that Monarch had access to too many cool toys, right? And he said it was too far fetched. Monarch have got too many cool toys.
Like
and I just
Tech
went
is
right.
off the chart.
Yeah,
right?
and I went, mate, you're saying that a clandestine government organisation who would have probably given based on the fact that these monsters were there, would have been given an unlimited budget to basically because there's fucking 90-story monsters knocking around. That is too far-fetched, but the fact that there's a giant lizard and a fucking moth, a giant moth,
Who are friends.
yeah, and a three-headed alien dragon Zord, whatever.
Yeah.
What's it called? Rodan.
Rodan.
Or
Yeah, it's Rodan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. That is.
He's going to be annoyed when Godzuki turns up.
Yeah. But well, I mean that's.
Maybe Godzuki won't turn up.
I mean, I don't know. That might have been. That
But
might
yeah,
have been
that-
set up. But I mean,
Really? Oh, fair enough.
I really fucking hope they do Godzuki.
I know, so do I.
It's so amazing.
In for a penny, in for a pound, I say.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But it's that thing of the effects in this are as good as they needed to be
Yep.
to present you with the. I mean, I'm saying ravished, the ravished nuns, the raped nuns is what I'm talking about. We've sort of skirted around it for the sake of taste, but that is what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
And it doesn't skimp on that. It's not sort of super lingery and stuff, but it's more than just flashes. You can see stuff happening. It's pretty unpleasant, but it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
We're dealing with a pagan god that's trying to sort of defile Christ. So we're dealing with something pretty serious here. It's proper exciting. I would hardly recommend it. So I get the feeling you two would as well.
Oh God, yeah,
definitely.
absolutely. I mean, I'll watch it again.
Oh yeah.
It's one of those things that I'll I don't know if it ever does turn up on late night Channel 5 or BBC 2, but it's one of those films that I will now, no matter what point the film is at, I'll watch the rest of it.
Because there's always something good coming up.
Oh yeah. No
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Really cool.
So if you do choose to watch, or you have watched Lair of the White Worm, 1988, directed by Ken Russell, then by all means get in touch with us. You can email us, groovinmovies@gmail.com. Go to our website, www.groovinmovies.com. You can buy us a coffee on Coffee if you wish. There's a link on the website. Gratefully appreciated. Appreciated gratefully. If you don't have the money to spare, we understand that, neither do we. Share us around, let people know, tell them about it. You can follow us Instagram and Twitter @Groovin Movies, and Groovin Movies Boppers Clubhouse on Facebook. Thank you so much for listening. That was Lair of the White Worm. All hail Amanda Donahoe, for she is probably the living epitome of fuck in this film. So get on it if you enjoy powerful sex. Lair of the White Worm. Say goodbye, guys.
Yeah, and also I mean, like, if you let me just say, if you're into snakes and ladders,
Yep.
the sexiest snakes and ladders board game scene you're ever gonna see.
And also that Snakes and Ladders board is a proper nice one.
Oh yeah.
God.
Beautiful.
Beautiful, absolutely wonderful.
She rolls
Ravishing.
She rolls 2 6s.
Yeah.
One of them quivers like no one's business. It's almost coquettish in the way.
Sexiest dice roll I've ever seen.
It even burns seductively.
It does, yes. So this is Anna Tidswell, Tom King, and Eddie French burning seductively.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Bye.
Ta-ta. Groovin Movies featured Tom King, Eddie French, and Emma Tidswell, and is part of the Discount Comedy Checkout Network. For more information, go to www.comedycheckout.com. Thanks for listening.